Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a tutorial for how to make graphs in Excel, which should just be review, but also on how to calculate a correlation coefficient. So you should have already opened up this file, which was on a manage back message, and here you will see three different sets of data. So over here you have radiation versus temperature, here you have radiation versus snow cover, and here you have radiation versus precipitation. So what you're going to do to create your graph, first of all, is highlight only the numbers for these two columns. Don't highlight the month and don't highlight any letters, any cells that contain letters, because you'll confuse Excel. So I'm going to highlight those two rows. Now your Excel might look slightly different, so you may have to hunt around a bit, but you want to find a place where you can create a chart. So I'm going to go to Insert, Chart, and you guys are going to need to select X, Y, Scatter. So there's my data. Okay. Now you'll notice some things missing. So one thing that I would like to insert here is a trend line. So if you find a part that says Add Chart Element, I'm going to put on a trend line. In this case, it's going to be a linear trend line. And then if you notice, I can really barely see that. So what I'm going to do now is select that trend line. I'm going to format it, and I'm going to place it in a way that I can see it more easily. So maybe if I, let's see, go to Paint, perhaps make it red. And instead of being dashed, it's a dashed line. Let's make it solid line. Okay, it's a solid line. It's as good as it's going to get, I suppose. At least we can see it now. Okay, now the other things that you need to do is the chart has no title and the axes aren't labeled, which is really important. So to chart title, it's easy. You can just click here, rename, and then for your axes labels, you can go to here. So I can do my x-axis by saying, be sure that you guys are going to include units. Never forget to include your units, okay? I'm not going to give you the answers, but you guys can figure it out. All right, easily done. Now, the last thing you need to do is, well, not the last thing, but the next thing you need to do is calculate your correlation coefficient. And as you guys can see here, these are pretty close to the trend line, so you're probably looking at a pretty high correlation coefficient. So what you're going to do is click on any empty cell, and you're going to write or type in CORREL. And it should give me a drop-down menu, which it doesn't. Oh, you have to do equals, sorry. You're going to type in equals COR, there it is, REL. Then it's going to tell you what to do. So you're going to put in those parentheses array 1, comma, space, array 2. Array 1 means the data that went onto your x-axis. So now I'm going to highlight all of the cells with the data that went into generating the points on the x-axis. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to put a comma, a space, and now I'm going to click on array 2. Then again, so now you're going to click and drag on the data that's going to go, or that was used for your y-axis data points. All right, then once you've done that, make sure that the parentheses are closed, which it is, hit enter, and now you've generated a correlation coefficient, which is right here. So as you can see, we saw that the data is very close to the trend line, which means it should be a high correlation coefficient. And so the number here, as you can see, is 0.96, which does indicate a high correlation between our two variables. Okay, hope that helps. Good luck.